All right, so here's what's going on over here, gang. So low on oxygen, yeah. So get this. So over the past month, as COVID hospitalizations have grown along with infection counts, daily consumption for medical grade oxygen has jumped 250%. Hospital leaders held an emergency meeting Monday to discuss ways to conserve the finite resource. I wanted to bring that one up because it's like it's kind of crazy. So look at these graphs, gang. So the one up on top is the case counts. We are at historic highs. I kind of zoomed in for into the past few months. It doesn't seem we're over the curve yet, sadly. So case counts are way higher than they've ever been by a large margin. And the graph below, that shaded graph, is hospitalizations. And I took this from the beginning of COVID. So this one goes all the way back to very beginning, March or so of last year. And you can see that our hospitalizations are higher than they've ever been. So Hawaii is really getting its butt kicked right now as far as the COVID thing. And in fact, what's going on is there's they did a new thing on Oahu, which is a no vax test, no service on Oahu. All staff and customers over the age of 12 are required to be fully vaccinated starting September 13th to enter indoor establishments on Oahu. So this means restaurants, bars, movie theaters, commercial attractions, indoor portions, and even the Honolulu Zoo, which is an outdoor zoo. So you can also get tested if you're negative. If you're negative on your test, you're okay. But it's a big deal. They're clamping down. The result of, we're getting some reports that people are canceling their reservations to Hawaii. I'd be curious if any of you have any of you canceled your reservations to Hawaii as a result of the news that you're catching about our COVID counts. And then finally, there's this whole thing. We've been talking about this over the past few shows, but there's a growing movement, less tourism. And so now it's somewhat become official. The HTA, which is the Hawaii Tourism Authority, I believe is what it stands. The Hawaii Tourism Authority has developed a 3-year action plan to reduce the impacts of vacationing on the island. So this is something new. It's always been about growth. It's the first time there's been sort of an official government plan per se to shrink. Whether or not we're going to actually shrink, it remains to be seen. But that's that. All right, that's our quick news update. Auntie Joyce is with us. Welcome, Auntie Joyce. Greetings from the hazy San Francisco Bay Area. Miss you all. We miss you too, Auntie Joyce. Get home and get safe. And Tom says we didn't cancel. It just simply kept pushing off booking. Yeah. Well, that is par for the course. So let's get some update on news, on non-real estate news. We got the real estate section later, but for now, Dylan, what do you got to report on this? What's been kind of happening news-wise on the Big Island that is worth mentioning?
Yeah, I mean, we're having medical issues here. Beds are almost full. My brother-in-law is a firefighter, and he said, "Stay safe. Don't break your arm. Don't do anything because you don't want to go to the emergency room right now. They're totally packed." And so that's the major news. The mayor is instituting some restrictions on gatherings. You can't put a pop tent out on the beaches and the parks because they don't want people gathering in groups, and they're pleading with us over Labor Day weekend not to gather and continue to spread. So that's the big thing. I mean, we're definitely feeling it here on the Big Island. It's funny how kind of each island is handling it differently. We don't have anything like the no vax or no service kind of policy yet, but who knows what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks.
It depends on which way the counts are all going to go. That's kind of where it's all depending on. So we got a few people that jumped into this one here real quick. Let's recognize a few folks. Tom said, Tom, yeah, he said that I already got Tom. Sherman is back. Aloha from Tennessee. Welcome, Sherman. And Kelly is with us. Kelly Hobby is also an alumni. A lot of alumni here, Islander Ohana members, alums from the Islander Ohana, which is great. Patrick says we postponed our trip to Hawaii. We were supposed to be there now. Yep, that's Patrick, I think you made the right call. It's kind of crazy.
I'm getting that from some folks. I've had some folks say that had a trip planned and are either pushing it back or cancel it for now. So it's definitely happening.
It's kind of one of these unpredictable things, right? And so it's not some. I mean, COVID's like rampant here. It's crazy. It's worse than it's ever been. But I think it's just the unpredictability and for me, travel is adventurous as it is. I don't want any more adventure and drama than I am paying for. Scott, what do you?
You're not gonna enjoy your trip right now, right? If you can't gather on the beach with your family, and you can't go to, if the restaurants are shutting down or slowing down their service, or maybe a lot of them are closing in-person dining, things like that. Some of the tour and other recreational activities are gonna shift over the next couple of weeks. You're still gonna be in Hawaii, but you're not gonna necessarily maximize the experience right now.
It's like, what's the point, right?
Yeah.
You could always go surfing, but you can only go surfing, maybe 16 hours a day. Scott, what do you got to share with us that your observations on Oahu for the past 2 weeks?
Well, in separate news, there was the article I sent you the other day where Department of Planning and Permitting is trying to change the short-term rental period from 30 days to 180 days, which is just an absolute nightmare. They're trying to basically say you can't, if you're in residential zoning or non-resort zoning, you're going to have to rent your property out for a minimum of 6 months. Otherwise, you fall under a short-term rental, and you can't do it for less than 6 months, or 180 days, I should say. It's a disaster. There's an entire segment that needs that shorter term, 2, 3, 4 month kind of rental component. Traveling nurses need that. What are they supposed to do? Go stay in a hotel now for 3 months while they're here? It's to me, it's asinine. It makes no sense. On top of that, they're saying if you buy a condo hotel, you're not going to be able to self-manage it or put it with a property manager. They're talking about, it has to be in a hotel rental program or something. So we'll see how this bill goes. I put in my 2 cents with the
testimony.
Yeah, the testimonial side. So,
well, I think this is an interesting trend, that we're seeing. And I caught an article on that, where Blangiardi is the mayor of Honolulu. Blangiardi, straight up said, "Hey, we are doing this because we don't want to have vacation rentals in residential areas." And so you've got this sort of negative backlash that's coming in. It's a mess. It's a mess, and it's going to be a bigger mess. So we'll see how this. But Dylan's, I know, Dylan, I know what you're saying. Dude, I just see the grin. I know what you're saying. Dylan say we got what we asked for. We got the government that we deserve. Joan is chiming in. I'm due to fly in on September 29th. I've had my reservation since the beginning of July. I'm moving there. I rented an apartment in Honolulu for a year and have to vacate my Colorado apartment. Joan, you're in. Joan is doing it. Good for you, Joan.